Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Mix presented by CrossBones MMA Radio. I'm your host, John Galloway, and today, as we look at the world of combat sports, we'll be joined by my guest, Pat Healy. Pat, welcome to CrossBones MMA. How's it going?
It's going great, Sean. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. So, first of all, you're coming into Titan. This is going to be your first fight for them. They were super excited when they got you and they signed you over there. How did that all come about for you signing with Titan?
To be honest, I kind of leave the whole negotiating thing up to my manager, Jason House at Iridium Sports. And I had just fought in Argentina. I was actually on the flight back. I had just landed in Miami. And Jason called me first thing and said, hey, we're going to sign with Titan. Ran me down. Everything sounded good. So he did all the work behind the scenes. And, I guess it might have been riding on if I won that fight in Argentina. And he didn't want to tell me and put too much pressure on me. So I'm glad everything worked out.
Yeah, and you know what? Like I said, I know the guys over at Titan were excited that you signed. So you're going to be fighting Kurt Kinzer coming up, Titan Fighting Championship 33. It's at the Mobile Aeroplex, and it's going to be for Mobile Aerofest down there. How did this fight come about? Was this somebody you had asked for, somebody that had asked for you, or was it just somebody that they put you together with on the card?
Just somebody they put me together with. They were throwing around a couple of names. I thought I was fighting somebody else, and I guess they turned down the fight. But, it's fine. Kurt Kinzer looks like a very tough guy and certainly a formidable opponent.
Yeah, and, you mentioned that somebody else, you had somebody else in mind and possibly had that fight turned down. Do you think it's surprising that a guy who's 8-0 with Kurt Kinzer was willing to step up to somebody who has your experience being 30-20? Having 50 professional fights in your career?
I don't think so. I think he's at his point in his career where, it's time for him to make a step up and fight, high-level competition. And, him going 8-0 and with some pretty quick wins, too, I think shows that he's ready for it.
Now, coming into Titan, clearly you've got a ton of experience behind you. You got a lot of big show experience. Any thoughts on how quickly you plan on moving towards that title?
I guess this is a title fight, so I think we'll be fighting for the title in this fight.
Oh, this is a title fight. Is that correct? I wrote it down, but I didn't have it confirmed. This is definitely a title fight.
Yeah. They confirmed with me 5 rounds and everything, so title fight, yeah.
All right, awesome. So, going back to, forget that last question. Sorry about that. So, what is it like getting the opportunity to fight for a title right off coming into Titan?
I think it's great, man. I think, winning the title will be a definite step to get me, back on track. And, I think it would be a very good, thing on my resume for sure.
Yeah, and do you think that, coming into Titan as your first fight as a title shot, do you think this is a nod to your previous experience? I know Jeff and the guys over at Titan have been around for a little while. They're big fans of the sport, not just that they're promoters or managers. But do you think this was a nod to your career as a whole?
Yeah, I think so. I certainly appreciate them feeling, like I'm worthy enough to fight for the title on my first fight for them. I think it's a test to what I've done in the past.
Now, just looking at your, the names that you've fought, you fought some of the big guys in mixed martial arts as a whole. When you get ready for a fight with a guy that, and not taking anything away from Kurt, but when you're getting ready for a guy who's 8-0 and still very young in his career, does it take more for you to get excited for the fight, to get up for it and prepare for it, as opposed to some of the bigger names that you fought?
for me, it's more. These are like the most important fights because I want to prove that I'm on the highest level of lightweights in the world, and when these fights come about, I think I have to go in there and put a stamp on it and really show how good I can be, and so I feel more pressure going to these fights, and feel like I have to work, really have to work hard to make sure that I look really good. Because the guy's going to be hungry too. I know that him winning this fight would put a big, him being 9-0 with a win, I think over me would really put him out there. So I got to think that he's really motivated. So I keep that in mind too. That I don't want anybody making their career off of me.
Sure, almost like he's in a no-lose situation, because if he goes out there and loses, it's to Pat Healy. It's somebody who's been around. It's not a bad thing. But if he goes out and wins, he just beat Pat Healy, somebody who's been around the game for a while.
Yeah, certainly. I know when I've had fights like that in the past, it was, it's almost like, wow, I can just focus on going out there and fighting good, and no matter what, it's a win for me. And that's usually when you have your best performances too. So, I take it very seriously.
Absolutely. Now, got to ask you here, because throughout your career, you went on good win streaks, and then there was the random loss, and then another good win streak, and then a loss. But you put together a string of 6 wins. And then you faced Jim Miller. You won that fight, but it got overturned. After that, you lost 4 straight. Was that no contest to Jim Miller kind of like a turning point in your career?
Unfortunately, it kind of looks like it. There was a lot of things also going on behind the scenes. Kind of at that time, I'd been at Team Quest for years and years, and had a ton of success while I was there. And their kind of pro team for MMA kind of broke up at that point.
Right.
And so I was shifting around, with gyms, and I think I kind of lost focus on what the things I needed to do to win, and wasn't, training. Training didn't go as well as during those periods as I had wanted, and so finally now I feel like I've got things settled down, and my training's gone back to really good, and I go down to, before this fight, about a month out, I'll go down to New Mexico and train with at Jackson's, and with stay at Donald Cerrone's ranch and train with him and stuff. So, I feel like I kind of got off course in my training during that time, and I've made the adjustments now to get back on the proper training I need.
Gotcha. Now, the names that you fought during that period are, nothing to joke about. It. Khabib Nurmagomedov, Bobby Green, Jorge Masvidal, Gleison Tibau. So it's not that you were just losing to, guys that were new to the sport. These are some powerhouses in the division. But you've gotten back on track with your latest win in December over Ricardo Tilloni. Was this the first time that your camp did seem to come back together the way that it used to? With you're saying go with Jackson's, and I believe you're at Sports Lab, correct?
Yeah, it's called Rose City Fight Club now,
Okay.
But it was the old Sports Lab.
Okay.
But yeah, and I did feel like it kind of came on right before the Gleison Tibau fight. Maybe it was a little bit too late, but I think kind of got back on track for then, and and now it's continued to be very good.
Gotcha. Now, in speaking with Jeff previously, in one of the interviews that I did with him, when I asked him what the goal was for Titan, he said it was a place that he wanted up-and-coming fighters as well as MMA veterans to come to feel at home, to create a fan base for them, but also for fighters to use it as a catalyst to get back into the UFC. Jeff and Titan have a very friendly policy with the UFC with the Zuffa out clause. Is this, is fighting for Titan in essence a way for you to possibly showcase your skills and get back into the UFC?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's certainly a goal of mine. I mean, when it comes to, financial security, no other organizations can really mess with the UFC. They still can pay you the most, and so you can really secure the rest of your life, through them. So, I think that shows how much Titan cares about their fighters, just having that out clause. It's certainly a goal of mine.
And when things went sour with the UFC, was there any talk of what you needed to do to come back? Was it just left up in the air? How exactly did things end with them?
I mean, it ended well. I mean, I've never had any complaints about the way the UFC treated me. And I developed a lot of good relationships with, the Zuffa people when they own Strikeforce too. So I feel like I've known like a lot of those people for a long time. But it did. What can they do? I lost 4 fights in a row. I mean, they had to cut me. So it ended cordially, and they did kind of just say, hey, go out there and get some good wins, and you can be back. So they kind of left it, like that. I mean, it's always on you to, do what it takes to win and get back there.
Definitely. Now, getting back to this fight that you have coming up, March 20th, Mobile, Alabama, Mobile Aerofest for Titan Fighting Championships 33. This is an event. This isn't just a night of fights. There's going to be several days. There are going to be hero games for wounded warriors and the wounded veterans. The whole thing is geared around promoting and raising money for the wounded warriors and veterans coming back with physical and mental disabilities. There's going to be gumbo cook-offs. There's going to be music festival. There's going to be, obviously, the Titan card. There's going to be seminars and classes taught by Titan fighters. Have they reached out to you about doing appearances or, teaching any classes or seminars?
No, they haven't talked to me about it yet, but I certainly would be down to do it. I'd love to give back, and certainly for the troops. So if they ask me to do anything, I'm down. So I'm just waiting on the word from them.
All right. Well, they're expecting anywhere between 30 and 50,000 people to make their way through the festival. Hopefully, a bunch of them will stick around and watch the fights on the card. You guys are going to be weighing in on the USS Alabama. It's taking place in an airport hangar. It's a big event here, so hopefully it'll garner some eyes and people will be able to watch. But if they can't watch and they want to know how the fight went, they want to see what's going on with you and what you have coming up, where can they follow you on social media to keep up with your activities?
I use Bam Bam Healy as my tag name on pretty much everything. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. So stay fairly active on it. So yeah, find me there, and I'll keep you updated.
All right. Any shout outs or anybody you want to thank before we get out of here?
Yeah, I always want to thank Triumph United for taking care of me, and the guys at Rose City and the BMX Ranch, man. For all the great training we get in. All
right. So once again, Pat Healy. Before I let you go, any prediction for the fight?
Yeah, me winning by knockout in the third round.
All right, I like it. So, Pat, thank you very much for taking some time out of your day today to join us here on CrossBones MMA Radio. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's going to wrap up another episode of In the Mix presented by CrossBones MMA Radio. I'd like to send a big thank you to today's guests for joining us. For Pat Healy for CrossBones MMA, this is John Galloway, and we are tapping out.